Hey, welcome in. Today we are doing, surprise, another Simsy shell. She is right now doing her St. Jude fundraiser for the month of May. Therefore, she's done another shell challenge, and you know that I've got to get in here and do it myself. Let's just say that this one was really difficult. She called it her Shark Shell Challenge. Inside joke for anyone who has been watching her streams and just hanging out during this fundraiser month. It doesn't really look like a shark. Like, it could kind of look like a hammerhead at a certain angle. It really wasn't modeled after a shark. Let's talk about this. This is my third attempt on this shell. We won't go through all the horribleness that I struggled with. Just know, like, it's normal to struggle, especially with a shell challenge. It's a little crazy. You're going in and you're really testing yourself on how you're going to do with these crazy shapes. Go in there and roof. Like, it takes a second, and that's okay. My first attempt, I tried to do cottage vibes, but bigger and almost castle-like. If it sounds crazy, because it kind of was. And I didn't get past the outside because I just wasn't feeling it. My second attempt with this, I tried to do a very eco lifestyle house. I was thinking off the grid and really utilize eco lifestyle. Probably would have made that work, except when I went to save my progress, I got the infinite loading screen. Hadn't been saving. I was done with the outside problems. I decided, you know what? I'm not doing that again. Let's just do something else. Like, it was a struggle getting there with the eco lifestyle version of it. So I was like, you know what I haven't done? I haven't gone into Tomarong and created a house using for rent in quite some time, since really the release. I really love this pack. I think there's such beautiful pieces in there. Of course, I use a lot of the pack just in general, different things throughout the house. You know, I might use one of the side tables or some plants to really go in and make it base game and the for rent pack. Been a hot minute. That's what I decided to do. I was struggling a little bit with layout, which I feel like is really normal when you're doing a shell challenge. You kind of have to get an idea of what's going to work, how it's going to look, just get it figured out, honestly. I knew that I wanted to use that back side of the house that I covered with windows as a little greenhouse, lots of plants, some garden things, and kind of lean into that feel because it was such a weird shape. I wasn't sure how I was going to make it work. I didn't like how this was looking, so I go ahead and swap the living room and the kitchen, and the vibe feels so much better at that point. It allowed me to have the kitchen a little bit bigger and to make like this really cozy little living space. So I use for rent as much as possible, and that's going to look like all of the bathroom and the living spaces and the kitchen. I use all the bedroom furniture, side tables, as much as I could. I even used the back bar without the bar and kind of put it as like a nice little hutch, when and not little, but a nice like little hutch feature point when you walk into the house. I thought that was really cool. I make this a little office space right there, right next to your walkway into the green room. Then the greenhouse, then getting upstairs. I forgot about the staircase. So I start trying to figure out how this is going to work and how's it going to look good, because it definitely was an afterthought. I had pulled it off to the side and it needed to get back in here, right? I put the staircase right when you kind of walk in. There's a little area. It does clip a little bit with the window, but I think it's fine. It's one of those things. It's all good. I'm not nitpicky about it. You can see it a little bit from that front window, but I didn't want to get rid of that front window. I thought it looked really good. I've got these little rooms basically separated. Every bathroom has an ensuite except for that smaller room, which I make into a nursery. Do have balcony access, all three bedrooms. The teen room and the baby infant room do connect on their balcony, which I thought was kind of a little fun thing. Parents really just have like this small little like walkout balcony. Not that you can do much on it, but it's cute enough. Getting outside, I had placed pretty much the windows in the front, and it was just time to go around and really bring it all together so that way I could finish furnishing this house and knew where the windows were going to be versus furniture. I use a really pretty white stone, and then I use the for rent wallpaper, that paneling. I think it's really pretty. They accent each other very well. I left this house like white on white on white, and I think it's really pretty. I don't normally do that. Normally we go into like darker colors, or we go with some of the fun paneling, but I liked the way that all the white looked. It gave it a really pretty serene feel, especially when you think about that this lot is backed up to some water. There's a little like cliffside beachy area. You kind of walk over there, can see the pretty ocean. Gone ahead and I'm changing swatches of things, getting a better feel. I had really just laid things out and knew that I wanted to come back in and change the coloring of everything before I started putting wallpaper and flooring down. Really like that wallpaper. It has some really pretty swatches, and then you can find the plain swatch to match the tile swatch. If you get what I mean, you can see that they're pretty much almost identical, and I like that feeling that you can have very cohesive feel in your living room kitchen area because those swatches match. So kind of sorting things out. I have pulled different pieces out here and there. I've put wallpaper around the house. It does change a little bit as I continue to decorate, just trying to make sure that I'm really using paper that feels really good to me and that I think matches really well. I have pulled out little bits of clutter items, not a whole lot, not at this point. And I'm really just laying the rooms out, getting an idea of how they're going to look and make sure that everything is still playable. Now, I have not play tested this house yet. Before I put it on the gallery, it will be play tested. So potentially when you're watching this video, I will have play tested it and I will have put it on the gallery. So that way, if you want it for yourself, you can have it. I think it's a nice little 3-bedroom house. You can always take that office downstairs and turn it into a small bedroom as well if you needed the space for it. There are 4 bathrooms, so it's a nice big house. And I've really just love all the for rent furniture. I think it's all so pretty. They did a really good job with this pack. Everything matches pretty well too. I was struggling a little bit making sure the wood tones look good together. I was in my matchy era, so I wanted all the wood tones to match because they can, you know, I'm using all one pack. So I had the opportunity, which isn't always something you can do. Put the curtains behind the master bed and really made this pretty focal point wall full of curtains, which I think is so pretty and just adds like a focal point. Like, say you don't want to paint like this giant motif on your wall, you could easily install curtains as a focal point, and it just really adds something special in my personal opinion. But I'm also a maximalist, so if you're not a maximalist, that may not be your vibe. And if you're a maximalist, maybe it's still not your vibe. I don't know. I like it though. I loved getting to use all the for rent tile, really laying it out the way that it's kind of, you know, supposed to be laid out, and getting to make each bathroom a different like color scheme, use different swatches of the sinks and of the showers. I do put a bathtub, a little base game bathtub upstairs in the bathroom that is not an ensuite, that kind of like little extra bathroom. If you have a baby, then you're able to give them that bath. So just a little something extra, because obviously I did put an infant's room up there. All right, this is the fun part. I love a good greenhouse. I probably do them a little too much, but I love plants. I have a couple of plants and I just think they're so awesome. There's something so wonderful and calming and just like grounding about greenery and plants. I made this room a whole vibe in my opinion, in my humble opinion. This is where I have added in. So right now we were doing base game and for rent, leaning into for rent a ton. Now we have added in the greenhouse haven, and I'm gonna add the blooming rooms into the mix as well. Just 2 little kits. I love the greenhouse kit. I use it all the time, if not for anything else, but for the pretty windows that they have. I like the windows and the doors. I think they're really great, and I do use the door as the exit of this greenhouse. I don't use the windows because I really liked the for rent windows. They were open enough where it was a good vibe in here. And now I am just literally laying out every single plant possible. If it looks like something that you have planted yourself, I try to use it. And at this point, we've added the blooming room kit, that big like hanging plant thing over in that little 3 tile section, and I think it looks really cool and it fits the area really well. Adds a lot more plants in. I know the texture is a little off, but it's cool. I'm good with it. I don't know if you can tell, but like this room really excited me and I had a lot of fun. It is very open in the middle and it stays very open. And I I was happy with that. I didn't need to be cluttered. Now, say you want to play in this house and you have like Eagle Lifestyle, you could easily go in here and put those vertical planters in the middle and really create a whole vibe in here and fill it up. Whatever you need for your gameplay. But I didn't do that. I really left it open. I did put a nice little couch in here. It's one of the for rent sofas, and it does look like it could be patio furniture. It's like that nice wood to it, and just cluttered this place up so much. I think it's a beautiful little area. Definitely somewhere you'd want to come like sit and hang out and just like take in the scenery and the fresh air. I go ahead and use the Greenhouse Haven wallpaper, that paneled wallpaper. It fit the vibes. We add a nice rug out here. We added a few rugs, and then we just add in a couple little more chairs for your Sims to come sit, hang out, and really take the space in. I go ahead and change the door into the greenhouse and kind of close it off. And I really like this door. I think it's really pretty. I do use the brown swatch. There's something about the texture of it that just fits the rest of the vibe of the house, even if the wood swatch is just a little off. Now, for the little living space, I go ahead and use a little console table as well as a coffee table, and then kind of decorate around it to fill in this wall space because it was feeling super empty. I definitely just go in here and kind of clutter up around the TV and this console table so that way it doesn't feel so empty in this little spot, and it creates a nice focal point. So that's going to look like a little bit of clutter on the table as well as some plants, a lamp, and really just fill this space up so that it looks intentional. It's just a really pretty moment in my opinion. I wasn't quite sure how it was going to look. It comes together though really well. Hopping back upstairs, so this is my kid or teen room. So I just cluttered the wall with a bunch of posters on that side. With that little bat statue, just trying to make this a fun space that kind of kept a little bit of order. Like it was still kind of a put together room, but it had a little bit of personality. I was trying to think of what could fill this space up and realized that we didn't have a dresser. So I go ahead and pull out a for rent dresser. I do shrink it down and it still works. It takes a little like finagling to get things to go on top of it. I have to alt place them because they want a slot to where the dresser should be. I also took that clock and sized it up. I think it's really nice to size the clocks up. Sometimes they work a little bit smaller, even though the texture isn't great. I feel like I've said texture like 40,000 times already in this video. Even though the texture of the clock isn't the greatest, I really like it. I think big clocks are cool. Who wants to read like a tiny little clock? Like you're waking up and you're like, oh, what time is it? You know? Into the baby's room. I like this room. It is definitely tiny. I think that as this sim grows, you will be able to go in here and still put a normal size bed and maybe take the bookcase out and put a dresser, things that you'll need. Won't have room for a ton of stuff, but it still works as a functional room. Plus it has access to the big balcony, which is kind of cool. Just alt placed a little bit of clutter in here and added some things to the walls. It was a really simple room. Oh, can't forget the mobile. It was a really simple room. I do like the way it turned out. Added a clock because apparently clocks are a theme. Because I definitely add one to this room as well. For this space up here, I thought that this was a nice little landing area. I put a bookshelf. There are bookshelves throughout the house, so it wasn't necessary, but it was a nice little point of view to like have that bookcase upstairs. I also go ahead and put a chess table up here, and I kind of put it in the middle, little like cattywampus. I think that that was pretty. It took up space as opposed to having like this really open space that didn't have a point of view. I get rid of the art easel because honestly, I wanted a rug underneath it. Obviously, there's no rug shaped like that. So I get rid of it and I turn this into a little like sitting area upstairs. So then your bookcase kind of comes into play that you could go grab a book, come sit down and read your book upstairs, hanging out in this little sitting area. I had a pretty little for rent lamp, then get that nice big picture, and it all just really comes together and I think it's really pretty. Add a couple of plants up here too because, you know, they're necessary. I decided to go ahead and put some plants on the floor by the parents' bed, add some lamps in, and then just decorate the top of the dresser. We're really just doing last minute clutter items, and then we're gonna get outside and do some landscaping. So we've popped back outside. I've put a couple plants on the balcony just to add a little bit something extra. We have raised this up on a foundation. It's on that pretty stilted foundation that comes with the For Rent pack. I do change this up a little bit and add some platforms and then this staircase so that way I can decorate right by the door. Just felt necessary to me to have like a little like plant, you know, more plants, of course. I do go ahead, add a little roof right here so that way you have a little overhang on top of the door. And now we're going to get into debug real quick because the thing is For Rent has beautiful, beautiful like landscaping. However, it is locked behind a cheat, which if you have Island Living, then you already have all of this basically unlocked. But I didn't want to use Island Living because that would have been just another pack that was used. So instead, I put debug cheats in and we get in here and use landscaping. And I really just emulated what was in the world. Nice little patches of thick shrubbery grass and those beautiful little orange plants and pink plants. They are the same plant, just different swatches. Added a couple palm trees. I even add some big rocks in because you can see that there are big rocks in the natural land of the world. And it's definitely a fun and different vibe to do this landscaping versus like landscaping for just any old, you know, blue Suburban, which obviously I love to do. But this is really fun too. It can be a little more organic and just placed all willy-nilly. I do go ahead and move it all so that I can move the house back just a little bit. Now I have lowered the house down so I could put the landscaping close to the house without it clipping upwards. And so now I've raised the house back up so I can go ahead and finish up that last minute stuff. Also, this is the point where I realized that this is on a diagonal and I can't put a staircase right there. So we go ahead and build a little platform porch area for your sim to be able to come back and come out this way and enjoy their backyard. I didn't like how small the little porch area was. So I go ahead and bring this porch all the way around the house. And I really liked the way it looked. I thought it was really cute. Just adds a little something extra. You have your little table out there where you can come and sit and enjoy this scenery if you don't want to sit inside. Of course, we add a little death trap, you know, telescopes. I didn't end up putting a staircase for you to get down from this back area. I didn't feel like you needed it. So if you are back there, sorry, you can't get down. You have to go through your front door to get out. All right, we are literally last minute things. We are doing terrain paint. I'm going to go in here, layer it, have a little fun with it, but we are done. So I think it's time we go ahead and jump into these screenshots. This has been Little Simsy's Shark Shell Challenge. I had a lot of fun with this. It definitely was just that, a challenge, but it was a lot of fun. I hope you like this build. If you do, you can get it off the gallery. My EAID is katxthrash, just like the name here on YouTube. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, keep coming back for more. We always have a ton of fun building in The Sims. I appreciate every single one of you watching, hanging out with me. I hope you have a great night wherever you are. Bye, y'all.